welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, back on the channel after a very disappointing 2-0 home defeat to relegation-threatened Newcastle, probably one of our worst performances of the season, and somehow we've managed to hand them 6 points in a year where they've looked the poorest that they have done for several years. But I'm here to do the player ratings. Pretty shocking performance from everyone, so it's not going to be too much of a complex video. But starting off, Jordan Pickford, to be fair, I'll give him a 5. He didn't have anything to do with either of the goals, which is, something I'm not really used to saying. I think he pulled off a good save for Wilson in the first half from a corner, but for some reason our defenders didn't really bother picking him up in the second half from a corner. So Pickford didn't really do much wrong. Distribution was all right when he was called upon. He did what he was meant to do, and obviously we've lost 2-0, but you can't really blame either of the goals on him. Next up, Seamus Coleman, I'm going to give a 4. To be honest, I'm not really sure what he did all day. I think Jamal Lewis absolutely bullied him on the overlap. Eventually, when St. Maximin came on, he didn't really do much, but I'm sure Coleman was absolutely breaking it. I think it's very clear we need a new right back in the summer. I'm not saying that was the problem in that game by any means, but he didn't get forwards at all until much later on in the game, and even then was a string of pretty poor deliveries. Defensively, I think he's lost it as well. As I said, I'm not blaming the loss on Seamus Coleman by any means, but really didn't do a lot today. And as the captain, when we're 1-0 down against a relegation-threatened side, it's probably the simplest job in the world to try and get your team back up motivated again. We know they were weak. They hadn't won since December 12th or 14th or something like that. And very, very quiet it seemed like, of course, with no fans there. You can obviously hear what most of the players are saying. So, yeah, very disappointed performance from Seamus Coleman. Left back Lucas Digne, I'm going to give a 3. I think he was absolutely shocking. I think he started the game in the first 10 minutes with 2 crosses, which were all right, and then after that, I'm not even sure he completed a cross for the rest of the day. I think some of his corners were poor. So, his delivery was just really, really quite poor all day, as I mentioned. Very disappointing from him, to be honest. We've come to expect a much higher standard. And even defensively, he was prone to mistakes at times. So I'm really disappointed in Lucas Digne after that. I thought we started bright with his deliveries down the left-hand side. James Rodriguez was finding well. He was linking up all right with Charleston for about 10 or 15 minutes, as I mentioned. Then for the next 75, he seemed to do very little. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a 3 there for Lucas Digne. Centre-half partnership didn't really do too much wrong. I'm going to give Yerry Mina a 5. I think he was pretty solid. Apart from, of course, not picking up Wilson from the corner, but that seemed like a very collective responsibility. We do seem to be operating with a zonal marking system as we have done all season, so you can't necessarily always blame individual players. And I think Yerry Mina, again, didn't really do a lot wrong, but the problem in our team today wasn't defensively. It was much more going forwards and in the midfield, so I can't really argue too much against him for that. I thought Michael Keane, I'll give a 4. Pretty average performance. Didn't really do a whole lot. And one of their goals come from a corner and one on the counter attack in the 93rd minute, where both of them were up for our corner. I can't really blame either of them too much for that one. But they didn't really do anything special. They have been quite a solid defensive partnership, conceding 2 goals here at home. It's very disappointing. But again, I read that those goals necessarily their fault. I think the problem with our team today was lied much more with going forwards and our link-up play in the midfield as opposed to anything else. Gylfi Sigurdsson, sadly, I'm not sure there's a rating low enough to give him. I think he was absolutely shocking once again. He's had not a bad string of form over the winter period, and people have been speaking a lot about maybe he's improved much more under Carlo Ancelotti, but I think today we saw the real Gylfi Sigurdsson chase the game somehow in a midfield against John Joe Shelby. I'm not really sure how that's possible. Didn't look comfortable on the ball, lost it quite a few times, lost the ball when he was just there, and then his usual, give the ball to Sigurdsson, turn around, pass it back to Keane and hope he does something instead. Took very little responsibility for driving the team forwards at all, as he often never does. And I think, really poor performance from Gylfi Sigurdsson today. I'm not really sure how he managed to stay on the pitch. Clearly Ancelotti thinks he offers something that us fans can't see. He clearly does something on the training ground, but kind of a vintage Gylfi Sigurdsson performance today. Really, really poor. So I'm not even going to give him a rating. I'll give him a 1. Really poor. I can't really see why he didn't get subbed off or what his involvement was today. Abdoulaye Doucouré, I'm going to give a 4 as well. I think he was pretty poor. Again, I think we've come to expect a much higher standard for our French midfielder. He didn't really get involved in the game too much and allowed John Joe Shelby space on the ball, which is ridiculous. Isaac Hayden as well in the midfield. These aren't, players that Sigurdsson and Doucouré should be having a major problem with, but they did all day. I thought Doucouré was quiet. He was rarely driving us forwards when he needed someone to pick up the ball, get us up the pitch, because we were too kind of had pedestrian in our possession around the defence. We needed someone to pick up the ball, and neither Sigurdsson nor Doucouré did that, sadly. Then next up, Richarlison, a 4. again, I'm giving out a lot of fours here because I can't really give much higher for anyone. I think he was really poor. The lad's clearly bereft of confidence. He's trying desperately to score, and on a couple of occasions today, he kind of wasted a good opportunity maybe to pass it out wide to Lucas Digne, who you never know may have ended up playing a good cross, but for some reason he keeps deciding to take the shot on, and it's been really poor from him for the past few weeks, and today was no different. Didn't really link up with Calvert-Lewin at all. The two kind of didn't look like they had much chemistry in the attack whatsoever, so a really disappointing performance from him. On the right, Alex Iwobi, before he got substituted off, very quiet day. Give him a 4. It's just you can't really give these attacking players much higher ratings when they haven't really got involved. And Iwobi is a player that I didn't really see what his threat was all game. He started brightly, as I mentioned, for the first 10 or 15 minutes. We looked all right going forwards, and after that we did absolutely nothing. It was really, really disappointing performance. And he ended up getting substituted off for Andre Gomez, who I'm not going to give a rating because I'm not really sure why he came on the pitch in place of Alex Iwobi. It kind of took even more pace out of the team that we already didn't have. It made us, very lackadaisical in possession once again in the midfield. Very slow, very pedestrian, as I mentioned, and Andre Gomez didn't help that by any means. A lot of misplaced passes, especially down the left-hand side channel, and he was really poor when he came on. Next up, James Rodriguez out. I'm pretty conflicted about this one because I think he started well. I think he's much better when he starts out wide because we end up using both wings, and he started centrally today and he was all right. I'll probably give him a 5. I think he was pretty decent until kind of the last half an hour when he didn't seem to get involved too much. He didn't seem to have much faith in passing the ball out to Lucas Digne, which, to be honest, I don't blame him for, but then didn't really seem to be able to find any other options. I think his delivery started well, as I mentioned several times already in this video. It was a decent first 10 minutes, but you can't base a game off 10 minutes. We were shocking over the 90, and I think as the game goes on, we know about Rodriguez's fitness. He did kind of fade off. His deliveries got poorer as the game went on, and pretty poor. I'll have to give him a 5. And then the last man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm not really sure how to rate him either because he's just not getting the service that he really needs in the past few games. I thought his kind of patch of not scoring was probably due to Lucas Digne's corners and crosses not being there, which Dominic Calvert-Lewin was thriving on, but apparently not. Lucas Digne's come in today and his crosser was still really poor. And Calvert-Lewin, if he can't link up with Richarlison, if he can't link up with Digne on the wing, and Iwobi has a quiet game, there's very little he's going to do. Did have a good effort, kind of curling effort that Dollar managed to turn past the left-hand side post, but other than that, a very quiet day, so I'll give Calvert-Lewin a 4 as well. I think my average rating there was about a 4, maybe Pickford and Rodriguez somehow managing to drag it up. So that's it for my player ratings. Of course, we only actually ended up making one substitution, which was ridiculous. We didn't inject any energy, didn't inject any pace whatsoever. I think the way we set up into the game, we expected the Newcastle side to come out as they have done for the past 6 games, and they didn't at the end of the day. I think they came out much more willing to press. I think the distance covered stats, 4 of the top 5 were Newcastle players, and Abdoulaye Doucouré was the other one. So yeah, I think we've set up, we in a naive fashion. I think we've given them too much time. We thought they were maybe just going to sit off deep, but they absolutely didn't. They finally turned up. And to be honest, they've got to deserve 3 points. We really didn't deserve to get much from that game. So that's it for me. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about the game, what you would rate the players' performances. I can't imagine there'll be many higher than a 5, much like my ratings. But thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues. No, no,